All right, special guest on the show, Davini Equipment phone line. Here you go.
A pirate, blustering in from sea, with a rollicking song he sweeps along, swaggering boisterously.
Yes! Let's talk a little football and other things right now. The head football coach at Mississippi State University. He is Mike Leach, and he's on your radio right now on the Davini Equipment phone. Coach Leach, I really do appreciate some time, and I know it's sort of a weird downtime. Everybody would love to know, first and foremost, kind of how you're doing. Everybody okay in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. How about that song? That's a pretty cool. The Oakland Raiders had that thing, and I don't know who did it, but associated with their team and stuff. And but yeah, kind of the Oakland Raiders theme deal back in the day.
Back in the day,
and my whole family, because they were from, they built Kaiser ships there in Oakland, and so my dad's side of the family was from the Bay Area, and they were all psycho Raiders fans. So I liked everybody but the Raiders. And who did I want? Well, whoever the Raiders were playing, And then because I just got tired of hearing the family go back and forth, the ups and downs, and brags about the Raiders. And so, and I'd pick one team after the next. Trouble is none of them were any better than the Raiders back then, other than maybe the Steelers. And I wasn't a big Steelers guy. But the thing is I'm down. I'm like everybody else, just sort of buttoned up, waiting this out. And, some things are bigger than athletics. And, and it's a shame because at a time like this, athletics would certainly do some things to uplift people. Sure. And, but at any rate, we got to wait it out. And I think there's some opportunities. Anybody that doesn't execute their time productively, I think, is making a mistake. I think that the trouble is there's a lot of stop and start with this, but try to do something productive every day. And I think, stay close to your loved ones, make sure they're doing pretty good. In our case, we're scattered around the country. We're also trying to look after our student athletes and prop them up academically as far as making sure that they take care of business in their online class efforts and things like that. And in Mississippi, it's a little bit of a struggle because not all of them are right next to a computer or have service, so we're working on that today.
Well, and, that's one thing I wondered about, Coach, if for you as a head coach, is there any worry? We'd heard so much, and I know I'd seen with my own eyes the level of the off-season program and the workouts and how good that was and how much work was being put in by the team. So for you as a head coach, is there a worry that with something like this, we're talking strictly for the football team, that kind of goes down the drain? Or when they all get home and now they're not keeping that up or not able to, is there a worry that kind of goes away?
Yeah, there's no question. And and the fact of the matter is a portion of it is going to go away. I mean, we can deny it all we want and we can try to hope it away, but the good news is it was extremely demanding. It was the most demanding work that those guys have ever done in their life. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so I think we cracked the surface on, how hard you can actually work and how demanding you can actually make things. So I think setting the stage mentally to work even harder, I think we made some progress there. We're definitely going to lose some of what we gained in the weight room and running, because doing it on your own is entirely different than doing it with the group. And the notion that out of 120 guys or so, everybody's out there tearing it up, working out, or even able to, is ridiculous. And the thing I hope the most is that they're eating right and Because I think that'll maintain it the best. But there's definitely going to be some work to do when we're allowed to, go full steam and practice again. No question about it. And that's just part of it. And it'll affect other teams too.
Sure. That's right. Mike Leach on your radio right now. Coach, how are you personally dealing with the quarantine, just staying away? How are you getting through it every day?
Oh, shoot. I mean, it's a complete pain in the ass, I'll tell you that, but I try to be optimistic about it. I get as much done on my phone as I can. And then I try to get a little exercise every day. The one thing that you can do is, everybody says they don't get enough sleep. You read every article, they don't get enough sleep. People don't get enough sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Everything would be perfect if everybody got enough sleep, which I haven't paid attention to that for decades. So, I'm getting more sleep. And then I try to have something. I got kind of a sequence of stuff I'm trying to read every day. In other words, try to have like kind of a game plan each day. And like I say, that part's tough because all of a sudden there'll be an announcement on the TV, where it changes the ground rules of things. And I try, for a while I watched, the news like everybody else all the time, but that is so redundant. It's so much the same thing. And same people saying the same stuff over and over. So I try to watch one thing a day just to get a general catch up on it. And then after that, deliberately make sure I don't watch anything else.
Sure.
And then, to try to get some reading done so I make sure I'm moving the mental needle there and getting something accomplished. Making sure that I eat right. I'm doing the eat right thing, eat small portions and make sure it's good, wholesome stuff. And, but that's the thing. You don't want this to be non-productive time because we can make this time productive. And the worst thing you can do is sit and pout and whine and worry about what you don't have. I mean,
That's right. Yeah.
We got to get the most done that we possibly can, and lay back and enjoy it to the point we can.
Sure. That's right. In regards to this quarantine, it opens up possibilities. We kind of learn about ourselves a little bit, what we like, don't like. Somebody, Coach, texted into the show earlier today and was saying, if you were quarantined and you could be quarantined with any historical figure, living or dead, who would that be? And I was thinking about that. For a lot of us, it's kind of, we would answer that based on what we're interested in at the time. Like I've been reading and studying and learning about the Lewis and Clark expedition. So right now, if you ask me that question, I would say, well, I'd want to be quarantined with Meriwether Lewis because I got a million questions. But I wonder for you, would you answer that based on like what you're studying and interested in now, or do you have one person that would always be that answer?
Well, I've always thought of it this way. First of all, the ones that are cop-outs that just don't want to answer the question, they'll immediately say Jesus or God or somebody, which that's kind of no kidding. Right. I mean, that's kind of the nuclear option on who you would want to have dinner with or whatever,
Right.
Because, I mean, whoever your deity is, that would include everybody.
Sure.
So,
sure. Right.
It really does kind of depend what I'm interested in the most at that point. I did a book on Geronimo periodically. It's been Geronimo.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot about Ernest Hemingway, so I almost would kind of like to spend that somewhere else. Obviously, guys like Lincoln and Churchill surface in the conversation, at least for me.
Mm-hmm.
George Washington, I think, is the magnitude of George Washington, what he did in this country, because we wouldn't have America without George Washington and his personal sacrifice and just his resilience to stay out there when it was impossible, when even the colonists didn't want to anymore. And then, you could even have one time I talked to a friend of mine, a guy named Tom Lemming, and Tom Lemming's the big recruiting guy.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so he goes all over the country, and then, and I got to talk to some of these guys on the phone and know one or two of them. So we talked about all these shows we'd watch. So, there's a guy named Jim Caviezel who's interested in sports and a big Notre Dame fan. So Tom called me, and he had S. Parker, who played Daniel Boone, Ron Ely, who played Tarzan, and, of course, Jim Caviezel, who played Jesus. Now, that's a power dinner right there. I mean, even though there were some stand-ins, Tarzan, Daniel Boone, and Jesus. I mean, that's pretty stout. And then, so I think that what I was going to tell you something else.
Well, and let me interject.
It definitely depends what I'm interested in then.
Right.
And then, what I was going to tell you about Lewis and Clark.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I was really starting to get interested in that myself because, you know, right there in Washington State, where I was last, which is a great place, and everybody should go if they ever get a chance. That's where all these rivers will make sense to you. That's where the Snake River, the Salmon River met up in the Clearwater, met the Columbia. And the Clearwater is just a gorgeous river. And then probably my favorite, the Snake's grand and really nice. But they went down all those rivers, and it's all converges right there in Pullman, and that's where they kind of split up and wintered, and the Indians kept them alive. They probably wish they hadn't in hindsight.
Right.
Kept them alive all winter, and taught them how to survive. And the most amazing thing about Lewis and Clark, nobody died. Everybody got back. Everybody came back in one piece, which is amazing. And then, but that was all right there. It was all right there, and it's like anything. You're at a place. You say, "Geez, I wish I'd have done this. I wish I'd have done it." And I had Lewis and Clark stuff right at my fingertips, and didn't know nearly about it what I'd like, but it was right there, and so some of those places I've actually been right at, or caught a sturgeon or something, and right on those same rivers.
That is incredible. I'd love to see it. You're right. There's so much amazing. They had one guy that died on that journey, but he died from natural causes, and you know how it all connects. What's interesting, Coach, is Meriwether Lewis. Not long after they finished that, supposedly killed himself not far from where I'm sitting right now, between Tupelo and Nashville, Tupelo, Mississippi, and Nashville, along the Natchez Trace, right up here north of us is where all that happened. Hey, our time's
up.
Why
did they think he did that?
Well, there are some people that don't believe he did it. They have, as a conspiracy theory, that don't believe he did it, but others, the people back then that knew him, believed it was possible because, one, he was very sick, two, he was an alcoholic, he had malaria and was taking medicine that had mercury in it, so they just thought that it all just kind of drove him crazy, basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
What, go all that way and then finish it out like that, huh?
I know.
Yeah, I'd read that.
Yeah. Out of time, Coach. Let's do it again soon. Thanks for some time today. Appreciate it.
All right. Sounds good. Great talking to you.
Yeah, you too, Coach. Thank you. That's Mike Leach.